Hi, it's Katrina.
Number 10. The Beheading of St. John the Baptist. Out of all of the Renaissance artists who operated in Italy during the 17th century, Caravaggio was by far the most psychotic and dangerous. He was a known murderer, a man who had a horrible drinking problem, and whose dark inner demons inspired some tragically beautiful artworks. One of these artworks is called The Decapitation of St. John the Baptist. It's the biggest and greatest painting that Caravaggio ever completed. It was commissioned by the Knights of Malta and finished in 1608. It is still in the St. John's Co-Cathedral all these years later. The painting is special for one main reason. It is the only masterpiece that Caravaggio ever left his signature on, and it was written in blood. Experts believe that by signing such a gruesome painting in his own blood, a painting which depicts St. John the Baptist in the middle of having his head sawed off, Caravaggio was admitting to murder. It was in May of 1606 that Caravaggio got into a fistfight with a man named Ranuccio Tomassoni on the streets of Rome and bludgeoned him to death. Art historian Andrew Graham Dixon believes the pair were fighting over a female prostitute who was having a love affair with both men. Purely out of guilt, and while working on his greatest masterpiece after fleeing Rome to escape a murder charge, Caravaggio may have left his signature as a subtle way of confessing his crime. I am excited to announce that this video is sponsored by Established Titles. This is an exciting project and an amazing gift idea. You can get some land, help the environment, support your favorite YouTuber, all while becoming a lord or lady in the process. What you do is buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate in Edelston, Scotland. And in exchange, you will receive the official title of Lord or Lady and an official framed certificate with a crest and a tree planted in your name. Established Titles is a fun and unique way to preserve the natural woodlands of Scotland while helping global reforestation efforts. It is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lairds or lords and ladies in English. You could change your name to add Lord or Lady and get it on your credit cards, plane tickets. The possibilities are endless. And of course, you can be sure to remind your friends and family to call you by your proper title. You can also get a gift pack for a couple that comes with adjoining plots of land. Your certificate will feature a unique plot number where you can see the exact location of your land. But here's the best part. Established Titles has let us know that the first 200 people purchasing a title pack using my link will effectively be next to my plot, within a few minutes of walking distance. We can start our real-life Origins Explained kingdom. So remember, this makes an amazing last-minute gift, or a great gift for people who have everything. Established Titles is actually running a Black Friday sale right now. Plus, if you use the code OriginsExplained, you get an additional 10% off. Go to www.establishedtitles.com/originsexplained to get your gifts now and help support the channel. Number 9. The Fake Hitler Paintings. Before Hitler became the leader of the Nazi Party and marched the Germans into World War II, he had an affinity for art. Hitler produced up to 3 paintings a day when he lived in Vienna between 1908 and 1913. Believe it or not, Hitler made a living by selling his own paintings of Vienna to tourists visiting the Austrian capital. Critics have called his work mediocre at best, although Hitler almost certainly considered himself a genius. These days, Hitler's art is way more valuable than most people care to realize. In 2015, 14 of Hitler's paintings and sketches were sold for nearly $500,000. And in 2019, a German auction house made headlines when an attempt to sell original Adolf Hitler paintings was foiled by forgeries. Local prosecutors seized 63 watercolors, drawings, and paintings that were forgeries attributed to the dead Nazi leader. The auction house only managed to sell 5, which they believed were the real deal. The truly shocking thing is finding out not only is Hitler's art wildly popular, but it's also worth so much money that people are making fakes and risking jail over them. Number 8. Michelangelo's David. In 1501, the great Michelangelo began to sculpt what would become his most controversial and adored piece of art. His statue of David has captivated people for 500 years. But what nobody's ever been able to determine is what exactly David has in his clenched right fist. If you're not even sure who David is, let's back things up a bit. In the Bible, David is the hero who fought and killed the Philistine giant Goliath, a man who was said to be a literal giant and undefeatable. Ordinary David, with nothing but a shepherd's staff, 5 smooth stones, and a leather sling, took the Goliath down. He would go on to become King David of Israel and Judah. In the Bible, David was an extremely important figure. He was a true hero, just like Hercules from Greek mythology. Michelangelo's statue of David was meant to show David before his battle with Goliath, which was quite strange for artists to do in the 16th century. Artists typically made artwork of David after defeating the giant, normally in a position of victory. But Michelangelo took a different approach, showing a strong and confident David ready to stand before the invincible giant. In David's left hand is the pouch for his sling. Art historian Sergio Risaliti believes the sling was attached to a weapon called a fustibal, or a staff sling. This was a terrifying weapon that was used for centuries as a primitive bazooka. It was like a portable trebuchet, a sling attached to a staff that could fling large rocks like stony grenades. Is it possible that a fustibal may have been the legendary weapon that David used to kill Goliath? On the other hand, we can't physically see what's clenched in David's right fist. Some have even speculated he's holding the severed manhood of Goliath, and that the statue was indeed meant to depict David after a victorious battle. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Number 7. The Last Supper. Leonardo da Vinci wanted to capture one of the most important events chronicled in all 4 of the Gospels in the New Testament: the Last Supper before the death of Jesus Christ. According to the Bible, the night before Jesus Christ was betrayed by Judas, sold for silver, and crucified, he and his disciples sat down for dinner. It was at this dinner that Jesus Christ prepared his disciples for what would happen following his execution. He also gave instructions how they were to remember him once he was gone. Leonardo da Vinci's version captures the few seconds after Christ revealed that he would be betrayed before the sun came up. The Last Supper was kind of like the first reaction video, showing in a snapshot what Leonardo thought each of the 12 disciples' reactions would be upon hearing the news. But there are few secrets about this wildly famous painting that you might not know. For example, when Leonardo started it in 1495, he had never created anything quite so large. The whole thing was an experiment, from the size to the pigment. It's also true that before the painting was ever finished, it was already flaking off the wall. Over the years, it decayed rapidly. The painting of the Last Supper that still survives has very little of its original paint left. In the 20th century, Panin Brambilla Barcelon, a famous restorer, used microscopic photography, took core samples, and used sonar to look beneath added layers of paint. His job was to restore the original work as best he could. But through the scans, he found that so much paint had already been added over the years that very little of Leonardo's original paint was still there. Number 6. The Lady and the Unicorn. The Lady and the Unicorn is a series of 6 tapestries woven in Paris around the year 1500. Experts have called the series the Mona Lisa of the Middle Ages. The tapestries are simple in their elegance, showing a lady of seemingly noble status in various scenes with a unicorn. The most famous is the one in which the woman is standing before a tent, its flaps held open by a lion and a unicorn, all presented against a lovely backdrop of flowers and fruit trees. The biggest mystery when it comes to the Lady and the Unicorn series is that nobody knows who created them. They were made 500 years ago in the days of medieval France, although there is no mention of them in any historical record until 1814. Some experts have theorized the lady may have been Mary Tudor, the Queen of France from 1514 until 1515. Others believe each tapestry represents one of the senses: touch, taste, smell, hearing, and sight. The 6th tapestry, which is wider than all the others and presented in a slightly different style, has been interpreted as the sense of the soul, or a kind of sixth sense. Number 5. Hidden Picasso Nude. A hidden Picasso nude has just been revealed thanks to artificial intelligence. This isn't your 21st century nude, but rather a naked portrait of a woman crouching in the fetal position. She was discovered hiding underneath the surface of the painting, The Blind Man's Meal. The painting was created by Pablo Picasso in 1903, but underneath it was an entirely different painting. The hidden artwork has been dubbed the Lonesome Crouching Nude, and nobody knows who the woman was or why Picasso went through all the trouble of painting over her. The discovery was made by Oceapalos, a company which specializes in artificial intelligence technology. Their AI tech used superimposed XRF imaging to bring the original work to the surface. They first found the outline of the painting, then added brushstroke after brushstroke with artificial intelligence. The software then generated a height map to give the painting texture, and the whole image was printed onto a canvas using 3D printing. It was quite the process from beginning to end, but the result was a flawless recreation of the hidden Picasso nude. This is something that never would have been done without modern technology. All we really know now is that the painting dates back to Picasso's blue period from early on in his career. This was the time when Picasso didn't have a lot of money, and so he frequently had to reuse materials. This often meant that even great portraits had to be erased and the canvas reused. Number 4. Madonna and the UFO. The Madonna with Saint Giovannino was painted near the end of the 15th century by Domenico Ghirlandaio. The painting shows the Virgin Mary looking down on the infant Jesus and Saint John the Baptist. But what separates this version of the Madonna and the baby Jesus is that looming over the Madonna's shoulder is a UFO in the sky. The painting is absolutely bizarre. There is really no mistaking the UFO for being anything other than a flying saucer from outer space. The Madonna may not be paying attention to it, since it's way behind her head in the background. But the artist did include a man in the background standing with his hand to his brow, staring up at it. He's obviously looking up at the object, and that could not have possibly been a mistake. Even the guy's dog is looking straight up at the UFO. There has been a lot of speculation over this weird painting throughout the years. It's currently housed at the Palazzo Vecchio in Venice, donated after the death of American art collector Charles Loesser. But the part that people can't agree on is whether the UFO was an extraterrestrial being from outer space or religious symbology. Some have said that the object in the sky isn't really a spaceship full of aliens, but really just one of God's heavenly objects, such as an angel in the form of a bright star. Number 3. The Night Watch. Rembrandt was a great artist who suffered a tragic life. When he died at the age of 63 in 1669, he was buried in an unmarked grave. He had outlived his wife by 27 years and outlived all the children they had had together. Rembrandt was arguably the most talented artist of his age, yet he died poor. So poor he couldn't afford a tombstone. Rembrandt's greatest and most mysterious painting is The Night Watch, completed at the peak of his success in 1642. The painting shows a civic militia in Amsterdam darkly lit. There is a man on the drums, a dog barking, and a mysterious woman in white stuck in the crowd of armed men dressed in black. Some have theorized it was this very painting that caused Rembrandt to fall into poverty and be forgotten during his own age. Expert Peter Greenaway says the painting appears to show a murder plot being devised. It could be that the civic militia hated the painting so bad they had Rembrandt's career ruined, thrusting him into poverty. Number 2. Girl with a Pearl Earring. Girl with a Pearl Earring was created during the Dutch golden age of artistic invention in the 17th century. Artists took their inspiration from Renaissance techniques, and beautiful pieces of art were spawned across the Netherlands and other parts of Western Europe. Girl with a Pearl Earring was one of these Renaissance-inspired artworks, completed by Johann Vermeer in 1665. The Dutch artist was famous for his fantastic depictions of contemporary life. Most of his paintings depicted domestic interiors and women going about their daily life. Girl with a Pearl Earring was one of over 35 paintings that he finished, but it's definitely his most famous. He saw only moderate success while he was alive and didn't become internationally famous until the 20th century. The one big mystery regarding this acclaimed painting is that no one is sure who the girl is. Some have suggested she wasn't even a real model, and that Vermeer was such a genius that he created her out of the light itself. He may have brought this mystifying subject to life as a way to show off his advanced painting techniques. When you look closely enough at her face, you can see that she doesn't have a single line. Vermeer painted her contours using light itself, and perhaps never had a specific person in mind. If true, that would have been an incredible imagination for someone from the 1600s. Number 1. Secret Nativity Scene. British experts were recently investigating a damaged painting from 400 years ago. As they were investigating, they found a painting hidden underneath from the even earlier medieval period. The original piece of art was a mysterious painting of John the Baptist when he was beheaded. The artist is unknown, with the painting currently owned by the Bowes Museum at Durham University. It was painted on a single piece of canvas and then stretched over a wood panel. But the artwork was highly damaged. When experts used X-ray scans to see what needed to be fixed, they found the shadow of an infant underneath the painting of John the Baptist. Further examination showed a manger, angels, and 3 wise men. It turned out to be a nativity scene, likely painted years before the picture of John the Baptist. Looks like somebody tried to wash off the original so that they could do their own painting. Thanks for watching! Which of these mysterious paintings is your favorite? Let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time. Bye!